Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and we're sitting down to talk about a plethora of Bethesda announcements and news, from the Fallout 4 Next Gen update to a couple of promotional things for Starfield and even Quake 2, because this week was QuakeCon and Bethesda really went out there and announced something pretty significant in the Quake 2 Enhanced Edition, which has way more content than I think anyone anticipated. So we're going to go through all those announcements here today. Some of them I'm very excited about. Some of them I'm kind of confused about. So I have some thoughts all over the place. I know some people may have been expecting a video about a certain other IP, maybe the one directly behind me. I'm very excited for The Last Ronin. Just given there's so little details, all I'll say is this: go read the comic book if you have yet to. Even if you're not a comic fan, it is one of the best of all time. It's a short read. Check it out. All right, let's go back to Bethesda. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here and you are into Bethesda news, information, updates, not too much longer now until Starfield, just a couple weeks away. So consider subscribing as coverage will continue to ramp up. Let's begin with Fallout 4, because this update was announced back in October of last year during the Fallout 25th anniversary. Right here, it says Fallout 4 is going next gen and it's coming in 2023. Well, in about 2 months now, it'll have been a year since this announcement and still no update. Now, I think many of us are willing to be patient with Starfield, but finally we got a little bit of a heads up on what's going on here, and it may have been the answer you assumed for some, but for me, it wasn't. I'll explain why. So someone had tweeted at Pete Hines, "Hey, at DC Deacon, any news on Fallout 4's next-gen update? Has been awfully quiet for quite some time now with nothing shared with the community," which I think is a innocent enough question, to which Pete Hines gets a little snarky and says, "Don't know if you heard, but we are shipping a new game in 3 weeks. Bit of a priority. When we have an update, we will share it." Attitude aside, let's get into the news, right? So the way I look at this and why I think it's a little strange is because I know Bethesda Game Studios has multiple teams on deck, right? We've seen them expand over time. They're not just the Bethesda Maryland studio anymore. It's the Maryland studio. You have Montreal. You have Austin. They've continued to expand and expand, where they have 4 different studios under the Bethesda Game Studios umbrella. Of course, to varying sizes, but a lot of people thought when this was revealed, not only would it be out soon, I mean, I think it's a fair question to ask. It's something that a lot of us thought would be out at least by the summer. But now it looks like we're not getting that Fallout 4 Next Gen update until after Starfield. This is kind of a good thing if you look at it a particular way. Like, for me, it's exciting that there's something to look forward to Bethesda Game Studios wise after Starfield. That was sort of my glass half full take on the Oblivion remake rumors. I'm like, if it ends up being true, we don't have to wait forever for something kind of BGS like. We kind of get that feeling as we did with Fallout 3, Fallout 3's DLC, then New Vegas, and New Vegas is DLC, where you're continuously getting that very rare, it feels like, BGS experience. That's how I'm looking at it. But I think this goes back to the theory I've had for a while on this Fallout 4 Next Gen update, which I know many of you have had as well. They're holding this thing back until the TV show is ready. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, right now, as you look at things, nothing's really happening with the Fallout IP. Things are quiet for 76. Things are now, we know, very quiet for Fallout 4. The TV show hasn't had its new trailer drop. Just kind of out of nowhere to say, yeah, the next gen update's available now, go play it. I guess that could be the Bethesda MO if Quake 2 and Hi-Fi Rush were anything to go off of, but I feel like with the next gen update, you can see a boom in players if you synchronize it with something that's kind of popular. So hopefully Amazon's Fallout TV show is a success, and if they synchronize the launch of the next gen update with the TV show, they may have something here. So that's my continued guess. When we see a trailer for the TV show, or when the TV show releases, I think that's when we'll get the next gen update, but they let us know it's on the way. I hope Bethesda knows how Bethesda fans function. Now people are expecting more because it took so long. There's going to be a lot of "that's it" kind of energy. And I'm just warning Bethesda in advance, because I know some people watch my videos. You may want to communicate this a little bit beyond a kind of clapback level tweet. Otherwise, I think fans are going to get pissed off. So let's keep going with Starfield. This one was really interesting because Xbox fans are going, well, where's our limited kind of hardware, if you will? Now, I know we have over here this lovely controller. This thing's awesome, by the way. I'm usually not a limited controller guy. I bent the knee for this one, especially the rubber grips on the back. Awesome stuff. So there's some more limited hardware coming to the PC gang, and this is through the AMD partnership, which we learned a while ago AMD was going to be the exclusive Starfield partner, likely wiping DLSS off the face of the earth, at least until a modder can get in and flip a switch. However, They're doing limited hardware, as I mentioned, and you'll see here, there's some promotional material, and I know a lot of people have been looking for it, and it's going to be a limited Starfield box for the AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D, and then you have the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX, which is a limited edition graphics card that I can't front, actually looks pretty cool, especially if you have a transparent case. You can see right through it and check that out. This is another angle for it, which, again, I got to say, props. This does look pretty cool. I just feel it reminds me of the missed opportunity that is a limited Starfield console. I'm not talking giveaway kind of energy. I'm talking like what we saw with Halo Infinite. I'm talking about what we're seeing with these controllers and the headset. A limited Starfield console, to me, kind of sells itself, especially when Xbox probably wants to move more units. It's in their best interest to move more units to grow Game Pass. But we have limited AMD hardware on the horizon, so keep an eye out for that. We also finally have an idea of the release time for Starfield, so you can not only mark your calendars, which we already did, but the time at which it's going to unlock. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now the Starfield early access release times on Xbox and PC are the following. It'll release at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time on August 31st, 2023, meaning that the UK and much of Europe will get access at 1 a.m. BST, 2 a.m. CEST on September 1st. So plan your all-nighters, plan your days off, plan on getting a little sick so that you can fire up some Starfield. But hey, the evening before, not too bad. That means that on the 30th, I just can't believe we're a few weeks out from this. And the reason why I say that is not the typical, I'm so excited. It's because actually this next bit of news here, right now they've announced that Starfield is doing a Constellation exclusive dev Q&A. This Q&A will feature Will Shen and Emil Pagliarulo. For those who are unaware, Emil Pagliarulo has really spearheaded the writing for Bethesda Game Studios for many, many games dating back to, I believe, Morrowind or Oblivion. Like, he's been there for a while. Will Shen is sort of what I call the new blood, if you will. He oversaw the Far Harbor expansion, which to me was some of the best choice and consequence that Bethesda Game Studios has done in a hot minute. That's not to put Emil down, because that dude's responsible for the Dark Brotherhood quest line, which we find in Oblivion, and that was fire. All right, so both of them are responsible for producing some heat. I got faith in the writing team at BGS, maybe foolish to some, but I'm excited. And so the reason I bring up their history is really to point out that this is likely going to be focused on questing, on choices, and we're going to get more answers. But the reason I don't want to come across whiny and complaining, the reason why I find this particularly strange, if you will, is this is something like a Discord Q&A, something you do maybe at the top of the year, something maybe last year, when you don't have much to show. But when we're in spitting distance of Starfield at this point in time, August 16th, and we're doing a Discord Q&A, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting greedy again. I always go back to the greed when I look at the Starfield Direct, and I'm like, okay, we got 45 minutes there. Last year, 15 minutes, a combined hour. We've seen a lot of Starfield. We know a lot about it. I like the secrets, but I also have to be honest with myself and say, this can at times feel a little, just a tad cagey. However, we have to also remember that towards the end part of this month, we have Gamescom, where there's an exclusive theater presentation there where maybe we'll get more information on Starfield. I'm not expecting a massive blowout. I like that they're going to keep the secrets to themselves, but I also feel like there's some stuff that could be worth expanding upon. We'll see how Bethesda handles things. I think we'll have a good feel on how effective this marketing campaign will be in the terms of when we play it, how many secrets Bethesda kept from us, or if we play it and it's like, wow, they showed us everything. In my opinion, Bethesda has a history of doing that. I remember I got the smoke for making a video about it, but I do not regret it. When I talked about how they, and I won't spoil what in case you haven't played it, in the trailers for Fallout 4 during E3, they showed the end of the game. You'll know what I'm talking about. They showed the end of the game. They showed the final choice you make, and everyone was like, oh, they're running it back. They're doing that side quest again. Nope, it was the end of the game. And I always said that was one of the silliest things that they could have done. So I'm hoping they learn from that here, and maybe that's why they're being cagey. And while we're feeling impatient now, and I'm right there with you, I think that we may be thankful if it ends up over-delivering when we play the game, when we discover a lot of secrets that Bethesda never showed, because then I think this goes into what Xbox does as a marketing tool, which is they love word of mouth, right? I think A High on Life is a great example. That became the #1 third-party Game Pass game with very little marketing. It was just word of mouth, TikTok, tweets, screenshots, all that crazy stuff just ramped it up. And I think they're having the same plan for Starfield. Let Game Pass be the main marketing tool. Wow, that looks cool. Oh, and I can just download as part of my subscription. I think that's the plan. And it's a pretty big adjustment for people who are used to the traditional way of doing things. So let's wrap things up now, talking about Quake, where Bethesda had a massive blowout for QuakeCon, where they said introducing id Software's legendary 1997 FPS to a new generation. Experience Quake 2 enhanced in partnership with Night Dive Studios to bring the groundbreaking shooter to modern hardware with new content, online multiplayer, visual upgrades, and more. Play Quake 2 today on Game Pass, series consoles, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, PS5, and PS4. So yes, day one Game Pass, and they added a all new expansion plus the original expansions, which adds over 30 single player missions and 20 deathmatch maps. They also said, but wait, Quake 2 now includes Call of the Machine, an all new expansion created by Wolfenstein, the new Colossus developer, Machine Games, consisting of 28 campaign levels plus a brand new deathmatch map. Fight across time and space to find the Strogmaker, destroy it, and change fate itself. This is actually kind of a big deal in my opinion, because we're all wondering what the heck Machine Games is up to. There's the thought of, oh, they have to be working on Wolfenstein 3. There's also the separate thought of, it's got to be Indiana Jones. Like, what is Machine Games working on? Why are they so quiet? And I'm of the mindset that they've just fully transitioned over to working on Indiana Jones, and we'll see them in a couple of years. But we see this come out of nowhere, and I know it's not the full team working on it. We see this come out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Machine Games was working on Quake 2 content. That's crazy to me, man. But I love that Bethesda's adding new content to this game. It makes it more than just your standard re-release. And I mean, the game visually looks great. Like, especially the updated lighting really impressed me with the way the shadows are cast. I mean, really, really good stuff here on display from Night Dive and Bethesda. So I love that they're doing this. And make no mistake, I believe this isn't just happening because Bethesda feels like doing it. I think this lines up too much with the rumors that id is going to bring Quake back. And I think as they continue to resurrect the old Quake games with maybe Quake 3 and who knows about Quake 4 being up next, I think they're going to continue to bring these back as they prepare the audience and keep the interest of Quake so that the whole catalog is there for when id makes their return. Because right now they're quiet. They finished the DLC for Doom Eternal. That was around 2020, 2021. So they're still a couple of years off where I could see more Quake popping out. So we'll see. But also what is included in Quake 2 here is Quake 2 64. Now, what's interesting about the Nintendo 64 port is that this is something that had pretty much entirely different levels compared to the base game itself. So it's like you have the new expansion, the old expansions, the original Quake 2, and then Quake 64. And so it's a constantly new and evolving experience. It's a pretty meaty package, especially for the price they're charging for it. So overall, Bethesda has been announcing a lot of stuff, and we just got to reflect for a moment that Redfall withstanding, they have had one of the busiest years I've personally seen the company have. I think that means that they're due for a pretty quiet one next year. But this year, when you look at all their studios firing off with projects big and small, this is the most active I have seen Bethesda since probably 2015. Everyone's doing something, right? Arcane did something. Tango did something. You had, of course, Bethesda Game Studios doing something. Now you know something that Machine Games is doing. Quake is being shadow dropped. They've done 2 shadow drops in the same year. Also 2 major AAA game releases. Again, even if one was kind of a failure, still, you got to acknowledge, like, they have been doing a lot of work this year. And I say all that because without them, Xbox wouldn't have as interesting of a 2023 as I think people think they are having. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to share some thoughts on all of these announcements that Bethesda is making and get your thoughts on it, whether it be Quake 2 or Starfield or the Fallout 4 Next Gen update. Let me know down below what you are thinking. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.